Okay, in this first section I want to talk about down picking and palm muting. Now this is really important when playing metal because it's quite a choppy style of music, and if you can really get used to kind of keeping your guitar as quiet as possible while playing riffs, every note that you play is really going to kind of ring out and, you know, be quite aggressive. So first off, we're going to be in E standard tuning. So we're going to be playing E on the low E string, A, D, G, B, and high E. Now for this first example, we're really just going to be looking at an E5 power chord, which is going to involve playing the low E string and the second fret on the A string. Okay, first off, with down picking, it's quite important to have like a consistent motion when playing down picking, and that's something that you can do when you're practicing really slow. Now what I do is I tend to angle the pick slightly forward instead of flat picking, just so it's easier for the pick to go through the string. Let me just do some down picking examples at a real slow tempo, just so you can hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so as you can see, my pick's slightly angled towards the floor. You know, if you're kind of playing, you know, flat picking against the low E string, you can get a bit stuck. But you know, that's not to say if you want to play a bit more aggressively, you could use more of the face of the pick to get more attack. Slightly different. It's a bit more kind of staccato sounding when you use just the flat of the pick, and if you turn it forward, it's a little bit more, a little bit smoother. Now, okay, you can do two things when you're sort of, you know, playing these chords. You can down pick on the one string, or you can kind of add a bit more of the chord in as well. So you're playing the root and fifth, and it just kind of fills it out a bit more. And you know, you could practice playing between the two. So you could just down pick on the one string, and then add the fifth in as well. And then you could alternate between the two just to change the dynamic of your playing. Now, you'll probably notice with the tone as well is that you're probably going to have to push a little bit harder into the strings just to kind of get that A string as well. And you know, it can create a lot more fuller sound. Now, while I was doing that, I was actually using palm muting as well, which is something that can, you know, really separate each down pick. And on this guitar, I've got like a sort of Gibson style bridge, and the kind of gap between the pickup and the bridge is quite a nice place to put the flat of your right hand. And you know, you can put it on as lightly as possible or as heavy as possible, you know, depending on the kind of effect that you want to get when you're playing your down picking metal riffs. Now, let me just sort of play those down picks again, but instead of focusing on the pick, just look at where my right hand is, and I'll try and change the dynamic. So I'll push in harder to get more of a kind of clamped down sound, and I'll raise my hand just to kind of make it a bit lighter. So here it is. Okay, so, you know, not very exciting stuff at the moment, but it really is the mechanics behind playing, you know, really tight, solid metal rhythm guitar. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is adding accents into your playing. So, you know, in between your palm mutes, you're just literally going to accent like the first beat of every bar. Let me just play an example and then you can hear what I mean. Okay, so what you're doing is you're actually taking your palm all the way off the guitar just to allow the strings to ring out, and then you're clamping down again with the palm to add a bit more palm muting in there, just to add a bit more dynamic to your playing again. So you kind of get more of that sort of accented effect within your playing, which is, again, it's going to change the dynamic of, the riffs. And we're only just sort of playing one chord at the moment, but, if you can get real good control with your right hand, you're going to be able to, do all that kind of stuff, playing different chords and, just add a bit more dynamic to your metal playing.